We've seen it throughout our 244-year history. Is this a moment in time where protesters have their moment in front of the media and they're making change, or they see they're creating change? Or is it a temporary phenomenon that eventually will move on and we'll get back to life as normal, including investing in America the way it used to be and always has been?
If we don't address the protests properly right now, these protests are not natural responses to caring because somebody lost their life. It's a terrible thing what happened to George Floyd. It was an act of murder as far as I can see, just as an observer. It was a horrifying thing. What was also horrifying was the black Trump supporter who was murdered on the street just 2 days ago. Does that black life not matter also? And when you dig down to see who's behind this and you see, oh no, we're Marxists by training, and you recognize that this sort of insurgency was written in unrestricted warfare by the Chinese PLA 20 years ago, where it talks about a single man-made stock market crash. It talks about infiltrating financial markets, putting hacker detachments. It talks about infiltrating the electronic systems so that the EMP could be used, or the electricity network. And it says eventually you want to cause street riots and a political crisis. That's how you take down your enemy. And you realize that this is potentially a lot of good people being sucked into a very bad-led movement. What you see in Portland is not peaceful protests.
Right. Allow me, and we'll take it around if anyone has, Nan, yourself as well. For what I see you point out there was a murder, right? And Black Lives Matter had a moment where peaceful protest was important and recognized.
Certainly.
For me, it feels like the leftists, the agitator group, the Antifas and other agitators, anti-American, have corrupted the Black Lives Matter movement. They've stolen, David, their stage, so to speak. I watch African Americans yelling "All Lives Matter" and having 5 Antifa white kids come up and tell them to shut up. What has happened? David, define what's going on. Is this a temporary phenomenon?
No, it's not a temporary phenomenon. I've been in education for 35 years or something. I had a birthday yesterday, so I'm old. But no, the neo-Marxists, right? The Marxist was capitalist versus labor. The neo-Marxist is identity politics, put everyone in a bucket, separate the country, drive the war. That's what's going on. That's been higher ed's been monopoly position on the left. Charlie Kirk was just on the panel. He's trying to arrange it so that you can have a debate of ideas on a college campus. That's how bad it is. You have to fight so you can have a debate between competing ideas.
Just to have a debate.
Right. And so we're there. The Speaker of the House of Representatives of the United States of America, Nancy Pelosi, was asked about, what do you make about statues, violence in the streets, all this terrible destruction? She said, people are going to do what they're going to do. This is not a temporary phenomenon. Right? The left is in charge. They've announced that when they win, and Nancy Pelosi is a conservative of the liberals, just so you got the context straight. Right? Pelosi's a conservative among. The left has announced that upon winning, they will change the Electoral College. That means California popular vote, New York popular vote, it's done.
They win.
Right? They're going to restructure the Supreme Court. They're going to put in all sorts of new electoral stuff. They're going to have 30 million amnesty. They've announced, these are things they've announced.
And that's supported by academia as well.
Academia. So these are announced Democrat far left policies. And the far left, Bernie, right? Biden's accepted all of Bernie's 6 policy prescriptions that are even more left. They're going to socialize healthcare and everything, free housing, free everything. So that's what's coming your way. It's an existential election coming up, right? This isn't a political thing. This is a policy debate about 2 choices. Either you go with that Judeo-Christian tradition with the rule of law and the Constitution and free markets, which has made us exceptional, or you experiment with a Marxist promise, just give us, trade in your rights in the short run. We promise you utopia and a better life later. You never get it.
And it's being funded by American corporations who think they're doing the right, well, no, they know better. They're putting money into Black Lives Matter.
They're capitulating to Black Lives Matter.
They are throwing, and then American people need to know that. And where you invest, who owns these American corporations? The shareholder owns them. But we're moving from a period, Joe Biden said, we will end shareholder capitalism and move to stakeholder capitalism, which means ESG, which means progressive, far progressive left principles. This is the existential war of our generation. It's with the Chinese, it's with the far progressive leftists.